one thing I will say is at this level of ride height, it doesn't like taking a little bit too much curb through those chicanes. Now, to be honest, that was too much curb through the chicane. I don't want to take that amount of curb to put a legitimate lap in. But what I was doing on those laps was checking out my gears, seeing how it felt through the corners. To be honest, through the corners it feels fairly damn fantastic, but we are on, I would say, a highish aeros. Now down the long straight I'm not topping out unless I use a lot of KERS. The thing is, I want to use the KERS through sector 1, most of it. So on the exit of turn 1 I want to use KERS all the way down the hill, and then a little bit more on the exit of the old hairpin. Then what I want to be able to do is use a little bit down the straight, and then if we've got enough, a little bit on the exit of the final corner. So doing it the way I was with a tiny little bit of KERS, my 7th gear was a little too long, so I'm going to knock that down by 2. 6th gear, I'm going to knock it down by 1, and I'm going to leave the rest of the gears because they actually don't feel too badly. I'm nowhere near at full speed. I'm just seeing how the car handles, how the gears handle, and then hopefully another day I'll come on and go bang, good lap. Whether that'll happen or not, I don't know. Now, I also did say look at the ride height. Now you could think because I got a little bit on that curb and it spun it out that you may, oh Mascouse, take it easy mate, have a good one. I may, if I lower the ride height I may spin out even worse than I just did, but it's not sounding like it's bottoming out anywhere near as much as I'd expect. So I am going to knock the front ride height to minimum, and I'm going to knock the rear ride height down to 40. Now this may work, it may not work. However, you're going to have to wait until I've come back from the old gentleman's room to find out. So I do apologise, but I'll be back in a moment. Right, apologies about that. I am now back. Now, for anyone that may still be watching, you may wonder why I've not looked at the tyre temperatures or the tyre pressures. There's a simple answer to that one. I'm going about a slightly different way to normal, and that is, we know the tyres get up to an okay temperature because they're green, they're not overheating, they're not going blue. So I'm going to work on getting a mechanical set up, get the car handling where it feels like it's fairly good, and then look at the tyres. Whether I do that today or not, I don't know, but that's the way I'm going to try it with this. It's similar to like if you go low downforce, you probably can go very low downforce as long as you get the grip from the mechanical side of the car. The places where it's going to struggle is high speed corners, braking zones. So if you can cope with those, you can get away with a low downforce, especially if you've got ABS traction control and anti-spin on, which I haven't. Well, there we go. Right, now I'm just going to have a slight cruise out lap while I finish my smoke. Now, obviously the tyre pressures can affect your temperatures, and your temperatures can affect your grip. And around Donington, the likelihood around here is that your front right tyre is not going to get worked anywhere near as much as your front left tyre, so you're probably going to need to have different balancers on those tyres, unless whatever setup you've got on is spreading the load quite nicely. Now we heard it there, so let's have a quick replay of that. I heard a noise when I clipped that curb just then. So I want to see just how much of the curb I was using, because to be honest I had smoke in my eye and only one hand on the wheel. Is he going to show me coming out of the pits or not? But yeah, it'll be interesting to just see how much of the curb I did take, because on this ride height, don't get your Scalextric cars out, on this ride height, that amount of curb, that potential slow speed, less downforce when you're not going as fast as you should be, it didn't like it. Well, even on fast forward, it sounds better than the Formula E's do. Oh, it was actually just a bump in the road. Yep, that was definitely a bottom out. Let's quickly change the camera. You can't really hear the clunk there. I'll do it at full speed, Mike. Or was the noise I heard me changing down a gear? No, I definitely heard a clunk. So there's a good chance then that this ride height is too low, but we'll carry on and see if it really is or not. I mean, the true test of the low ride height is going to be after turn 1. I've got a cold tyre now. We'll go around the outside of the cones. You will have been able to perhaps hear it clunking a lot more. Actually, through the old hairpin itself, it didn't feel too bad. Well, that's just bad driving, that is, Dave. Well, tiredness kills, as they say. come on. I need to put my foot down there to really push the rear end around the corner. See if it'll help with the running wide. Now the car's actually coping with the lumps and bumps quite nicely, but because we've done that, it means it's given us additional downforce, which has now made the gears a little bit lazier. Come on, David, you can do better than that, young man. I'm starting to get really tired now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, now that we've lowered the ride height, we know it can handle it, it's added a bit of downforce, we're going to knock a little bit off. So let's give that a try. I do like to have the front end a little more perky than the rear, but that now means that I've knocked 2 off the rear and 1.5 off the front. which should hopefully make the gears a little more perky, potentially raise the car up a little bit because there's less downforce pushing it down, but also could just allow me to be that, well, because the gears will be a little perkier, it may just give me the drive that I want out of some of the corners. It won't take long to know whether the reduction in aerodynamics overall hurts us in the corners. Cold brakes, stay out of the gravel. Didn't turn enough. To be honest, the more I try and push the car, the more it does feel like it is struggling a bit with that level of aero, so we may have to bump it up one. The Formula A's famous second gear spin. Caused mainly by going too quick for the gear. Oh, come on, Dave, that is such a stupid mistake to keep bloody making. Very frustrating. Is there free roam in this game? No, mate. It's all racetracks or point-to-points, but that's the whole idea of Project Cars. It's a racing simulator, not a free roaming game. Unless by free roaming do you mean can I go all the way over here? You can pretty much go, as far as I know, most places until there's a barrier. But I haven't explored too far off track. And also, some tracks may be different to others. Cold brakes again. I keep doing that. I think I'm now at that point where I'm probably too tired to do any kind of serious driving, let alone cruise around, because that's what this is meant to be, just a leisurely drive around. But me being me, I get a car on a track, start making tweaks. Those tweaks lead to other tweaks, which lead to other tweaks, and then I've been here for weeks. A little lock up there. Oh, come on, car. You can fucking handle us changing down to second gear. The thing is, I know how to solve the issues of second gear. It's just frustrating when it happens, because you can drive a car for 50 laps and not spin it going into second gear, and then it'll just do it again and again and again. You can easily get yourself into the wrong rhythm, which is exactly what I've done when I've been spinning it there. Just like with the old hairpin, when I keep making a mistake of going wide on entry, it's getting yourself into the wrong rhythm. I'm getting myself into the wrong rhythm anyway. now say that we have got too much ground effect happening. In other words, the reason the car is bottoming out just a little bit too much. Come on, Dave, get that corner right. You know you can do it. Too much curb. Right, okay. Let's make a couple more tweaks. Okay, I'm going to leave the arrows as they are. I'm just going to knock the ride height back up a couple. You know what? I'm going to leave the rear. The rear didn't feel too bad. I just want to get the front end off the ground a little bit and see how it goes. And I'm going to pop one on 6th and 7th gear because I was topping it out when I don't want to. To go with the opposite lock then, and as soon as I did, the front's bit into the ground. But if I hadn't have gone with the opposite lock, it would have just spun around. Big lock up there then. I've still topped it out there, but I use more curves down there than I would on a normal lap. Open DRS too soon then. Not enough brakes. Oh, I was on the brakes too bloody late there. Right, okay. I'm going to jump out here, make myself a quick smoke. Excuse me. Save this setup, because it's a bit of a work in progress on this setup. Then I'm going to try the car that Mad Scout suggested, the number 12 car. Now I don't know whether he means the number 12 livery, or whether there's a car with a number 12 on. We'll have a look. But he seems to think that that one goes better. So we shall have to wait and see on that one. Okay, so let's quickly save this to here. Now I know I'm not driving anywhere near my potential best, but I don't mind that. I mean, at the end of the day, it is now 1:45 in the morning, and I was just going to go to bed, but I thought now I'll go and have a quick drive. Now, I'm only going to quickly jump into this car and see if there's a... so it means the slightly mad one, because they're not numbered like some of them. So we'll give that a try. I mean, I doubt it'd go better, but maybe it does. Maybe there's a bit of a tweak on that one. I mean, let's just have a quick look. Is there any difference in the power or anything like that from one livery to another? No, none at all. So technically there shouldn't be any difference whatsoever. But we shall go and find out. Now I'm only going to do 2, 3, maybe 4 laps, and then I'm just going to go and have a little drive somewhere else in a different car, and then that'll be more than likely the end of my live stream. I did say I wasn't going to be on too long tonight, but there we go. Now really, having changed to this car should make no difference whatsoever, but we shall see. I won't edit anything, we shall just go out on track. while I remember as well, because Mad Scouse did suggest this, I do need to show my field of view settings. Might not be watching at the moment, but if I chuck this onto YouTube, he shall watch it from there. Still went off in a similar sort of place as I tried to pick the pace up. Fifth gear then, didn't like it. Now, I've been quite quiet for the few laps that I've done in this car, just so that I can try and focus on whether the car does seem better or not. Now, oddly enough, I don't know if it's just in my mind or what, but actually, the feeling through the wheel is that the car is feeling fairly damn nice. It does feel like it's feeling a little bit better, but the times on the sectors are not good. Now I've made the apex to turn 1 every lap so far quite easy and quite comfortably. Now it could be that I'm losing time there by being too cautious, but I have got into the apex curb every time, so there may be something to that. I may have to come back to that on a different day when I'm a little more awake. Rage Karma, have a good night, mate. Take it easy. Thank you for watching. I'll quickly show the field of view settings that I've got on and the movement for the benefit of Mad Scouse. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that picking a certain livery would make the car be any better, but considering that that is the slightly mad car, I suppose the potential is always there for it. Okay, options I need. Visuals, is it? No, it's camera. Excuse me. Okay, movement. I've got head speed shake off at the moment, world movement 100, G-force effect 100, helmet on, helmet depth of field yes, helmet look to apex yes, helmet leaning all the way to 100, camera leaning all the way to 100, field of view, bumper cam is 80, hood cam is 100, roof cam is 80, chase cam is 80, cockpit camera is 100, helmet camera is 85, and rear passenger camera is 96. I haven't played about with those a lot since I actually got the game. I think within the first week we did play about with them a little bit just to see what was kind of nice, but I've not been and looked back at them since. Okay. Now I said I was going to do one more thing at a different track, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump in a nice little car and go for a couple of laps around here. Not many, just a couple, just for a bit of fun. Although I am probably going to need to well, I do know that for the best gear ratio around it I need to alter the gears, which I may do before I go out, before I do any kind of laps. No, I'll do a before alteration and an after alteration, I reckon. Right. Now I have played about with the setup. I'm going to take a bit of the old fuelage out, just for the benefit of my little bit of a fun run here. Now the gears are set at that, but they jump quite a lot, so well, I do know I don't really get into 5th around here. I may just get into 5th. Now, for some strange reason, the car is sounding a little bit clunky and a little bit quiet. Maybe that's because well, it's not me clipping the wall there, it's the computer clipping the wall. Now, this car I did find to be quite a bit of fun to drive, but in my tired state I may be able to not be able to get the opposite lock on that I want. I'm fairly sure when I drove this the other day though it didn't have that clunking noise that it seems to have at the moment, and definitely sounded a lot louder, but that may be because I had the sound coming through my TV rather than through my headset. Either that or just because I've been driving the Formula A and that is quite loud. This maybe seems Now down here we're not getting into 5th gear. Oh, and it's locked up on the brakes. And that was with a tiny amount of brakes applied as well. Admittedly, I did set this car up on a full fuel level even. So I'm not entirely sure what it will handle like when it's quite low on fuel, but on the cold tyres it does tend to be quite a bit of fun, which I'll try and have on the next lap. But I know if I go and try and purposefully have some fun, it'll end up in smacking the walls. Right, let's see if we get into 5th gear down here. That would be a no, so I probably could shorten the gears then so we can use 5th gear. Obviously as well, the car does sound quite slow and cumbersome with this particular gear ratio. That's going to end up backwards. Push that a little bit too much then. Told you if I purposely tried to have some fun it would end up in the wall. I didn't quite make it into the wall, but I am a little bit too tired to really get some drifting and plenty of opposite locking on. It means moving the hands about too quick. Also, if I remember right, I did set this car up to try and dial out a little bit of the oversteer, just to make it a little nicer to race around here. Little clump there. Come on Dave, stay away from those walls. You can do it. Oh, not on that occasion or that occasion. Right, okay, let's lower these gears. See how it's gonna play. What it'll mean is that we're not going to use 1st gear, but I'm not using 1st gear anyway. However, it may mean that we don't use 2nd gear, because 2nd gear is now going to do the same speed that 1st gear was. It could have no audio effect or anything like that. It could even completely mess me up with the gear changes or the amount of revs that are used, but we'll see. We may even get to a much lower speed. Usually I'd go down to 2nd for this corner, but instead I'm just going to stick to the amount of gear changes that I would do. Now these are quite fun little cars to drive, but also quite tricky. It took me a little time to get a setup for around here, mainly because of the tyre temperatures and tyre pressures. Getting those right took a little bit of work. But around here it does take the tyres quite a long time to warm up. I mean, I haven't driven this car much at any other tracks. But it does take the tyres quite some time to warm up. And then when the rears do warm up, the car's quite tricky to drive because the fronts will still be cold. Oh, I actually thought I was going to make that then. Yeah, so that transitional period between cold tyres and warm tyres, quite a tricky car to handle. Now on the cold tyres it is quite enjoyable to handle. When they do warm up, the car does become quite a bit more planted, although it does sound quite slow because obviously it's gripping up in most places instead of sliding. That was close. Okay, so now the rear tyres have warmed up and the fronts haven't. This is where it could get a little bit tricky. Because with the rears being one temperature and the fronts being another, it means obviously you've got grip at one end and no grip at the other, and it completely unbalances the car. But once they all warm up, it does tend to feel a bit better. I mean, to a degree I am trying to get the rear end out a bit, so I am driving it in a way to do that, because it can be quite a bit of fun. See, you don't always have to be driving fast to have fun. Oh yes, fine. Oh, just setting that up then. I got it slightly wrong. Oh, it's going to spin. A little bit too much on the brakes there and just dug the front end in. Now, Monaco is a track that I must admit I do really love Monaco, as long as I've got a car that can hack it. And I do tend to pride myself on being able to get around Monaco without really clumping any walls, but it's just a sign of my tiredness at the moment that I am hitting a few. Also, with trying to have a bit of fun, there is more chance of hitting the odd walls like that. Now I wouldn't say that I'm trying to actually do drifting. I'm just trying to get a bit of opposite lock going, that's all. No sort of Japanese style drift king drifting, but just get it so I'm getting the odd bit of opposite lock on. Now some people may find it difficult with some of the cars with the amount of opposite lock you may need. On the standard setup on this car I did, because of how much opposite lock was actually required, and I tend to hold my wheel in a sort of an F1 style of way where my hands are positioned and they stay in that position, so I can turn the wheel so much and then after that I can't turn it anymore. So it's actually quite good practice going in a car like this that is quite tail happy, needs quite a bit of opposite lock to teach you to get your thumbs out from, like, hooked in behind the centre of the wheel, and actually get using your hands around the wheel, even letting the wheel just spin without your hands on it, like there. I've just let the wheel flick and then grabbed it at a random point, which turns out to be a pretty good one. It can take a while to get the confidence to do that, especially if you've never done it before, but it's something that you can't do if you are firmly gripping the wheel. I mean, doing this kind of thing, it is quite, I do find it quite enjoyable. It is good fun. But for example, on Gran Turismo, I've tried doing this on the wheel and it is seemingly so much more difficult, even with sort of a drift car settings on. For me, I had to find the perfect car to do drifting on the wheel on Gran Turismo. But just doing it in a slow car like this was very, very difficult. Well, there we go. That was quite an enjoyable lap, and actually probably the fastest lap I've done in this session, but there we go. Not the fastest lap, because I know that in this car around here I can get into the 203s easy without really trying and with full fuel, but there we go. Right, okay. But then I did notice, if you actually try doing donuts in it, it doesn't really like doing donuts. It'll drive round in a circle, but that's about it. But anyway, that's it for tonight, I'm afraid. That's going to be the end of my live stream. Actually, no, I'm going to roll a smoke. I knew I should have hit replay earlier, and we'll watch the end of the lap on off-board view. See, it's not super drifting, but there is a bit of tyre smoke. But like I said, I wasn't trying to do drifting, just get a little bit of opposite lock on. Well, I suppose you could say that is drifting, but there you go. I mean, like I say, these cars are great fun. And when I was doing setting one of these up the other day for here, I never actually sat there and watched the off-board replay to see what it was like. And considering that I do love Monaco, I really should have done. And I must admit, I am tempted this week for one of my live streams to actually do quite a long race around here in these, but I would have to try and work out sort of average lap time, so I can work out how many laps I'd need to put on to keep it under a 2-hour video. But there we go. Great fun, these little cars. So yeah, so there we go. Go on, push it, push it. Gripped up a little too much there, but yeah, an enjoyable lap anyway. Right. Okay, so that is going to be it for the live stream for this evening, this morning, whichever you wish to call it. So I apologise, it's been a short one, or been on at an odd time. If it is under 2 hours, I will put it onto YouTube. If it's not, then I probably won't be able to. Either way, I've been Front Row Racing DP, otherwise known as Dave. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again soon.